To discuss the latest on the investigation into Khashoggi's murder, we want to continue here with Middle East analyst Shai Franklin. Shai, welcome. The Saudis, they have so far changed their narrative a couple of times. Lately, they admitted that Khashoggi's murder was premeditated. But what about the rest of their investigation? Are they working on the cover-up for the cover-up now?
They're always working on the cover-up for the cover-up. But right now, I think what's going on in Ankara and particularly in Istanbul is the two prosecutors are not meeting. They're not reviewing the evidence. What they're really doing is they're negotiating over what the Saudis will provide and whether the Turkish government will even provide all the evidence that they have. They're holding back the evidence that they've already provided to the United States and to the United States government. They're saying, we will give you all the evidence we have if you deliver the 18 Saudis that you say you've arrested who were implicated, and if you tell us where the body is.
Does the Saudi prosecutor have the power back in Saudi Arabia to make a claim and just draw a connection between the crown prince and this murder?
There's no separation of powers in Saudi Arabia. So he'll go as far as he's allowed to go, and that's what he'll do. It's not...
So in other words, no. I mean,
no, there's no
way he's going to put a finger on the crown prince and say this guy made the order the killing.
No, there's no Sam Waterston here.
He will turn into Khashoggi himself. What do you think?
Hercule Poirot is staying clear of this.
So you mentioned the audio recording, right? This element of the investigation. I think you're referring to the alleged audio recording of Khashoggi's interrogation and his murder. What do you think is happening with it? Why are the Turks holding it back? It's because if it was recorded secretly as a breach of international law?
Well, they've already intimated that they have it, so the breach is already there.
But it's not publicly.
And governments always spy on each other. I'm sure everybody's. If you recall, well, you may not recall. I'm old enough to recall 30 years ago when we rebuilt the U.S. Embassy in Moscow. They had to tear it down and rebuild it again because it was so filled with bugs. Listening devices. So and we didn't go to war with Russia, with the Soviet Union. I think that the Turkish government, they think they have the goods on the Saudis, but if they release the recordings, then they don't have the goods anymore. Then it's out there. So when you're trying to leverage, well, you want to hold back.
What is it that the Turks want? I mean, do they want the Saudis to pay up and say, you know, give them $500 million or whatever it is, and then we make this go away, and we want you to invest in various projects? I mean, what is it specifically they're looking for?
Turkey is heading very quickly toward an economic crisis, which is not entirely the result of these aluminum and steel tariffs that were largely punitive by the United States against Turkey because of the American pastor who was being held. He's now been released, but they have a currency crisis. There are a lot of issues going on, and I think they want some investment, they want some trade. And they'd like some cash. The United States got $100 million from the Saudis overnight last week, and I think Turkey would like to get some of that too.
Shai Franklin, a Middle East analyst. Shai, thanks for being on with us. Appreciate it.